Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile for you, we've got BlackWarGreymon X, or also Gaiomon, depending on how you build the deck out. I think this is still a fantastic deck. We're still seeing it top very nicely into this format, with a lot of people running it in some regionals, but in other bigger online tournaments, we're still seeing it run in topping pretty successfully. I do think WarGreymon X will probably take its spot eventually once more people get comfortable with WarGreymon X and figure out how the new mechanics work. This deck feels like it does, they both do kind of the same stuff. This one's a little bit less memory efficient in what it does, but it's a lot more controlling in the fact that you don't actually have to directly attack over the monsters. You can just, pop them, and keep going about your business. So we'll go ahead and get into this. Another caveat to that. I think the BlackWarGreymon is actually way better now that we've got Hunters and Cross both being predominantly in the meta. Having BlackWarGreymon being able to pop those tamers is actually very, very crucial. So another great benefit to actually keeping onto the BlackWarGreymon X deck. Don't forget, this month's featured memory marker is Monimon. So if you're playing a Hunter's deck, this is actually a great one to pick up. This is our featured memory marker for Patreon, as well as you can get it on my wife's Etsy page, link in the description below, for Digimiyu. She hand-made this out of clay, hand-painted it as well. In addition to that one, you can find all of her previous ones on her Etsy page as well, including some updated versions of some old classics that we've had. Also, if you're interested in ordering cards online, I suggest checking out cardtrader.com. They actually are an incredible site for ordering cards online, similar to TCG Player, but these guys cut down on your shipping cost. What they do is they gather all the cards from across the globe with whatever language you're looking for. They'll gather all of the cards you're wanting in their warehouse, and then you only pay for a single shipping cost to get all the cards that you're wanting, so shipped to you. And whether that's singles or sealed product doesn't matter. And then also, if you use my affiliate link in the description below there, you can actually get a free $2 to spend on anything you want just for signing up. And just for signing up, it helps support me on the channel, as well as whether you're ordering something or just signing up in general, I get a kickback, so it helps support the channel without even having to donate anything. So if you want to help support the channel, just go sign up for an account on cardtrader.com and check it out. I do think that getting all my shipping all under one single cost is really great, because that's one of the things I do not like about tcgplayer.com is the fact that I have to pay for all these different shipping things. Even if it's for a $2 card, I have to pay $1 shipping, or buying a 50-cent card and paying $1 for shipping always feels so bad. So here they'll just gather up all the cards in one place and then ship them to me for one cost. I am a big fan of cardtrader.com, so yeah, definitely go check them out. Please support the channel. All right, so as always, I've got the whole deck pulled up for you guys, so you can kind of follow along and see what we're working with here. I would say a lot of this is heavily emphasized on playing with your ratios to fit your play style. If you'll notice, our megas here is divided into 2-2-2. I don't like running more than 6 megas unless it's grandest and you need 4 and 4. 6 is the max for me. And so it's very much a personal preference. Usually I go a little bit heavier on the Gaiomon, and then, just have a couple BlackWarGreymon X's, but I think regular BlackWarGreymon's actually in a really good position right now for this format, doing a great job. So I did actually want to leave it in here as a 2 of. Now, if you really want to get squirrely with it, you can maybe bump the BlackWarGreymon up to 3, simply because these other 2 can evo on top of him. So that's kind of the one thing that maybe you could argue changing. Also, we've got 2 talking points down here at the end. So yeah, and then the flex spot for the deck will be the 2 red memory boosts. You can drop these for something else, change up your ratios, bump up your ratios if you want, or have them for bigger plays. All right. So, of course, we got our draw Coromons here. I'm a big fan of these draw babies in an X antibody deck, because if I slide the X antibody option underneath and I attack and I draw, I could potentially draw into an X antibody Digimon that I can immediately Digivolve. So I'm really, really big fan of this one, as well as these are just really big removal formats. You're always losing your body. You're always having to rebuild up again. So having a baby that's going to like help replenish your hand so you can go into a second stack, very, very important. For our rookie lineup, I tried so hard, guys. I saw a couple builds using like a black base, and I wanted to so bad to bring you a good black base. But there just wasn't enough for me to really get in there. One, I would have to kind of lose out on the Greymon X here, because he can only Digivolve on top of red rookies. And if you don't Digivolve him on top of another Greymon, then you really lose out. Also, losing out on the Security Attack +1 Greymon kind of sucks. Like losing out on these level 4s was the biggest like hindrance. I could get away with the rookies. There's some really great Agumon searchers and things like that. We've got a black Agumon X that we can use. Yeah, it's not that bad for the rookie lineup. It was just the level 4s felt super impactful. We don't need the blocker Greymon because we got the new tie and things like that. So ultimately, I did stick with the red base, so it's similar to our WarGreymon X build. We've got 2 of the +2K Agumons. Seeing more and more people go away from this just because there are other DP gains that the deck can do now. That's an all turns effect, and that all turns effect is actually pretty huge. But we had 2 extra spots, and I'm a big fan of running 14 rookies, so I kept 2 in here. We got the new Agumon from BT12 here, just a fantastic searcher. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and 1 Tamer card with Tai Kamiya in its name among them to your hand. I only run the Tai Kamiya. You'll notice I don't have the Yuya in here. But I think if I have to hard play the Yuya on my own for 4 memory, I'm taking way too long in this format. I still stand by, if you want to play this format, you got to play fast decks. Okay, you can't play anything that takes time to set up. It's like, okay, once I get my couple tamers on board and I get this certain stack, no one can stop me. This deck is unstoppable. I'm not playing a deck like that, because there's just Merva Cross will just eat you alive. Okay, they're just going to absolutely steamroll you. Beelzemon X doesn't care. Like, turn 3, they're killing you. Okay, so if you can't basically beat your opponent by turn 3, they're going to beat you by turn 3. That, or you have to have a deck that's going to be able to withstand your opponent's onslaught on turn 3. So that's kind of my big takeaway is so you could play some recovery decks or like a super defensive deck, which is pretty close, but this as it is, but if I was to implement other slow things into it, no, it couldn't. So that's why I went with this, the tie, and then the all turns +1K DP. Really, really, really good. In previous format, it was always my Gaiomon attacks over your Gaiomon. My Gaiomon attacks over your Gaiomon. It was just back and forth. But now, with the format like it is and the new cards, you can actually you can't do that anymore because theirs are going to be just as big as yours. So you got to find a new way to deal with that mirror match now. Of course, we got the BT5 Agumon here, just grab a Greymon and an Omnimon. So really solid. We like our Omnimons in this deck. So I've got these as well as our talking points down here. Lots of Omnimons. I think they're actually really, really strong in this format. And then, of course, we got our Agumon X's here, just that on play or when Digivolving. Reveal 3, add a Greymon or Omnimon. Again, great searchers. And an X antibody. You'll notice all the searchers I'm running can also grab an Omnimon. Because bottom decking Omnimon in a certain matchup is like, that's just game over. So I'm only going to run the Agumon searchers that can also grab Omnimon. Because I do not want to bottom deck an Omnimon if I have a choice. And also grabbing that X antibody option is super, super strong. For level 4s, of course, we're running the Security Attack +1 Greymon. A big fan of it. Always have been. I'm going to probably stick with 4 of. At most, I'll ever drop down to 3 of. I know some people are down to 2 ofs. I said it in my WarGreymon video, but I'm going to say it here as well. I don't like running like one of this Greymon, 2 of this Greymon, 1 of this Greymon, 2 of this Greymon, and have like, 5, 7, 8 different Greymons. It's like I am very much a consistency person. I like to run as maximum of 1 and then just like condense it down as much as possible on most everything I can. You saw my my regional top deck that I got my invite with this year, just a month ago. It was no nonsense, no spicy texts or anything like that. I'm just a vanilla guy, all right? I don't know what to tell you. I'm a vanilla guy. I'm going to run consistency. That's my biggest thing. That's the thing that's helped me in Digimon for the past, what are we at, 3 years almost playing this game? Consistency. I just want to max out on stuff that I think is good. And I think Security Attack +1 Greymon is fantastic, especially with piercing now and things like that. Popping bodies, it's great. We've got the new Greymon here when the Wind Digivolving. If you don't have a tie in play, you can play one. And then the all turns 1000 DP. Well, already talked about how great that is. I think the tie can be a bit of a trap. The Wind Digivolving on this Greymon is a trap. You don't want to evo a rookie in raising area on your first turn and then not digivolve a Greymon on top of it. It's like, well, I'm going to save it to promote it and then digivolve into my Greymon so I get that great Wind Digivolving effect. It is a great effect, but don't do that play, okay? It's like, well, what do I do to pass turn? Play a tie? Well, that defeats the purpose, right? Because then you're going to have a tie in play. I guess I could play a memory boost, okay? Or a Searcher Agumon. I think my favorite play, though, is like legitimately, if you're going first or second, go, start evoing your raising area and then play a Searcher Agumon to pass turn. I like that because then on the follow-up turn, I can evo that Greymon, get my Wind Digivolving effect, but I can also still keep my stack in raising area. So I'm evoing up slowly a stack in raising area while I'm also evoing up a stack on field. So 2 stacks going up at the same time can be a little bit difficult for your opponent to deal with. So if they handle the one on the field, the one in the raising area comes out and smacks you in the face. That's also kind of how you play the mirror match a lot in these. If you're not familiar with that, it's very similar to like Lord Knightmon format, where it's you get your level 5 at raising area, and then you start building up a stack on field, and you leave that one in raising area, and whoever promotes out of raising area first loses, because then you promote yours out, you kill their stack, and they've got nothing to deal with. So that's kind of what I like. That's what I like to do with this Greymon, is to evo it on that second stack that's out there on the field. Don't promote out of raising area, because then you're going to set yourself back too many turns to do all that all over again just to get a tie on field. Tie is good, but he's not worth losing your whole raising area stack for it. Next, we got the Greymon X antibody here. And so, of course, it's one of our good protections here. Evo for 0 on top of Greymon. If you have 2 or more of the same level and it would get deleted, return to hand, or bottom decked, you can remove 2 of those same levels to prevent it from leaving the field. So, great card. I almost ran the Agumon X that had the same inheritable, just to kind of help out, as well as like the Altarius mode can do it as well. But I did not, just couldn't work it in. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Just because it's a black Agumon X, I'm very limited on what I can digivolve on top of it. So it wasn't quite worth it for me. And then, of course, we got the 1 Greymon X antibody virus type here. Stupid strong card. There's a reason it's limited to 1. It's because of the next card that we're going to talk about here. Just this reducing the Evo cost for your Greymons that digivolve on top of it. Reduce the cost by 1 for each color. It's so good. So good. And the inheritable is solid too, but I really think, like, even if they did away with this effect and I just got to use this, I would still use this. Like, I could run Altarius mode. I could run Black Agumon X to get my other protection. I don't need this inheritable necessarily, but this effect right here is absolutely bananas. 0 Evo cost, and then make my next one a 1 Evo cost. Oh, so good. But then again, another option protection card, but this time you're going to return an X antibody to the bottom of your deck instead of the 2 of the same level. And then this card right here is probably the reason that virus type got limited. So normally 3 Evo cost on top of a Greymon. Yeah, and you get to reduce this by 2. So 1 Evo cost level 5 with tons of effects. You're just not going to see that. Like, you can't even get vanillas for 1 Evo cost level 5s, and you're going to give me all these effects for that. There's no way that's balanced. So Raid, great new mechanic, especially for what we've got going on here. So we got the piercing here. So one of the big plays is you can do is slide the X antibody option underneath BlackWarGreymon here, and then you attack, use your Raid mechanic to switch targets, and then use your when attacking to digivolve on top of this guy. And then you're going to have your piercing. So whatever you're attacking, you're going to attack over it. You're going to get your piercing. You're going to get whatever awesome mega that you're evoing. Gaiomon and BlackWarGreymon X are both X antibody types, so both can benefit from the X antibody option. So good stuff there. Also, all turns, once per turn, when an attack target is switched, you may play 1 black or red tamer card with a play cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its cost. So even if you have one in play, you can still play another one. So attack with the BlackWarGreymon, change your target, play out your tamer for free, and then digivolve into your X antibody level 6. And also when you play out that tamer, then you can actually use him. So if you're not familiar, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about him right quick. Tai Kamiya, start of your main phase or on play, one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon, and his name gets 1000 DP and gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So if you're playing this guy out for free, that's really great, because then you're going to be able to immediately give whatever played him for free, blocker and 1k. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. So you're going to swing with the BlackWarGreymon, Evo into one of these guys, and then you're going to immediately suspend that Tai that you just played, and help reduce these, because these are big old 5 Evo costs, and helping, reducing those down to 4 is definitely a good idea. Now, you see we're running 2 of this, and also 2 of the BlackWarGreymon here. This is mostly because it's hard for me to decide which one I prefer more. Depending on the ratios you go with, you might just go max out on this new BlackWarGreymon, understandably. If you go heavy on the Gaiomon and you want to bump up Gaiomon in the deck, you might want to run this BlackWarGreymon. Because he's got the attack your turn when this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits. He can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. This is basically like your pseudo raid mechanic for you. So you can digivolve on top of him with Gaiomon, and then Gaiomon can blitz, okay, and then you can immediately use that inheritable to attack over something. The only thing is you're going to lose out on that piercing. So while this BlackWarGreymon takes a few more pieces, you need the option card, to really get the full power of it. It can be a little bit more useful in all the things that it can do, which I really like. Getting that free tamer, getting that raid, getting that piercing, great stuff there. Whereas this one, I have to digivolve on top of it first and then attack. I can't attack with this and then Evo with my X antibody option on top of it, because I have to have trigger the Dragonkin and Machine first, and that's the difficult part. You can't even go BlackWarGreymon X on top of it because it's a cyborg X antibody type. It's not a Machine or Dragonkin, so it really can be a little difficult to get this off. But the when digivolving, digivolve 1 and then pop a 3k or less, still pretty strong. 4 Evo cost is brutal. Even with the Greymon here, you only have 1 of it to rely on it. It can be very, very difficult. To rely on just your ties getting his Evo cost down can be difficult. So that's why I think more and more people are shying away with this, because it's a little bit, it's a little more finicky to trigger. You really have to combo it with Gaiomon, and if you're not going to be maxing out on the Gaiomons like you were in previous formats, then even more unlikely to get this. So more and more switching over to the BlackWarGreymon here, the new one. For our X antibody level 5, I went with the BT11 version instead of the security attack +1 +3k, because this is a control build, right? We're definitely way more control-y if we're attacking over our opponent's Digimon, things like that. Makes more sense to me to run this one. When digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects, and it isn't affected by de-digivolve. Now, de-digivolve is a little less prevalent in this format, but it's still nice in case you come across the mirror match with the BlackWarGreymon X and they're running like Gaiomon and things like that. Then if Metal Greymon or X anybody's in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. That's still great. So I don't have to split my focus on level 5s on my my 0 Evo cost or whatever you want to call them. Like Altarius mode for a defensive card, or do I run Metal Greymon X, the original one, for an offensive? With this card, I can kind of do both. I can get that protection, I can get that pop of that body, and then I can get my offensive part here of opponent's turn. Once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, if this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, tracks the top card of your opponent's security stack. That's essentially security tag +1 that just never ends. It's just, it doesn't immediately affect the moment I attack. It's during my opponent's turn, I reboot and I get a trash. Or if they play something that can unsuspend multiple times, like a Garurumon deck, also a great inheritable to have for that. So I'm a big fan of this with our kind of controlling style. A little bit more generic, and it can do multiple things, whereas the Greymon build, the regular WarGreymon build, has to like split its focus on its level 5s like that. So then, of course, Gaiomon here, security tag +1 and reboot. When digivolving, you can de-digivolve, and then you can blitz. Everything you're going to digivolve. If you're digivolving this guy, you're going to have dual colors underneath. All of our level 5s are dual colors, so we'll always trigger both of its when digivolving effects. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way around it. So, super strong card. I love Gaiomon. It's my favorite Digimon. If you watch our feature matches every week, I'm always running my Gaiomon mat now, so that I took to Nats. Big fan. But I also think BlackWarGreymon's in a great position here. When digivolving, if this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. If it has a black, choose any number of your opponent's Tamers. It's always going to have both, so you can choose either or. The chosen card's play cost must add up to 6 or less. Delete the chosen cards. 6 or less is huge. If you're talking about the Hunters matchups or the Cross matchup, most of their Tamers are all 3 play costs. So you can pop 2 Tamers when you digivolve your BlackWarGreymon. Fantastic. Super, super strong. And of course, we got the Hades Force for more Tamer hate. But just BlackWarGreymon on its own, great card. Now, the only issue with BlackWarGreymon, he's a 4 Evo cost. That's huge. You're probably going to be passing turn most of the time, unless you got enough ties out there and you can get away with not, having to Evo for 4. You can reduce it or by getting multiple tie activations. That's pretty good. But he often passes turn, which is like the biggest drawback of him. He doesn't have blitz or anything like that. So if you Evo, you're just passing turn. You get to pop some stuff, but you're not being offensive with him. It's not the worst, but it is a bit of a bummer. But all turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may unsuspend this Digimon. That's so good in combination with what we got going on here. Whether we're attacking unsuspended with the Metal Greymon and we're just going to swing over BlackWarGreymon, he's going to delete that Digimon, we're going to unsuspend, we're going to swing again, great. Or if you got, the piercing here for the Metal Greymon, being able to swing over your opponent's Digimon that's suspended, and then, unsuspend and attack again, very powerful. Really, really like BlackWarGreymon in this format and in this deck. So glad to see he's doing doing good again. And then we got the BlackWarGreymon X, also a very powerful card. Digivolve for 2 from BlackWarGreymon. Also, I kind of skipped over it because normally we don't do this, but 2 Evo from BlackWarGreymon. But with playing BlackWarGreymon so much more, this actually is relevant there. Because one of the nice things is you can attack, get that unsuspend effect, and then digivolve. So, attack once with BlackWarGreymon, unsuspend, digivolve into one of these 2 guys, attack again. We got the reboot here. And an opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the target to this Digimon. So it's kind of like a double blocker. You'll have your tie giving you blocker, and you'll have this guy who can also redirect. So redirect that highest one and then block something else. Opponent's turn once per turn. When a Digimon becomes unsuspended, usually this guy with his reboot, if this Digimon has BlackWarGreymon or X antibody in its Digivolution cards, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So super strong card. We've got lots of board control here, whether you're doing the Metal Greymon raid mechanic or you're doing the Metal Greymon, the regular Metal Greymon, or the old one. Sorry, you're gonna attack one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Man, Brayden was flatlining on me there. You can get some really good board control out of BlackWarGreymon X. So super strong card. Still highly enjoy this. Just that every single opponent's turn, once per turn, you're going to get some really good effects out of this guy. So still running him as well. Him and Gaiomon, so strong. BlackWarGreymon, all these guys, Megas, every one of them, all have great situations that will literally come up in every single game, no matter what the opponent is. And that's what I really like, is that they all have great uses. Now, for our Omnimon here, right now, I would say this is very much a personal preference. That's why we got the talking points down there. We've got the BT5 Omnimon X. This is mainly because it's opponent's turn. When opponent's Digimon attacks, you may trash 2 of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to end that attack. And he's gonna have the protection, right? Because all of our protection effects also carry over to Omnimon. So I think this is really good for Beelzemon. Beelzemon being able to attack multiple times. Yes, they can evo into Beelzemon X and trash a bunch of security, but if they can't ever attack for game, then you're going to be in a great position. So Omnimon X just being able to stop the opponent from ever winning, and then I keep attacking with Omnimon X and delete one of my opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. If I can hold off Beelzemon long enough with this card, they're either going to deck themselves, or I'm just going to burn through all their resources that they can't actually get anything viable on field. And again, this guy can also become a blocker, because with the tie here, one of your Digimon with BlackWarGreymon its name gets plus 1000 DP and gains blocker until the end of your turn. So if you give it to your Greymons here, your BlackWarGreymons, your Gaiomons, and then evo into an Omnimon, then you're going to have keep that blocker for a round. So that's super strong. So block at least once while you have the blocker, and then start trashing your sources to stop attacks. So I went with a 2 of this one. This is literally how I beat the Grandis matchup. Every time I played Grandis with this deck in the previous format, I dropped this Omnimon X, and they just scoop, because they're going to attack with, so many different things. And I'm just like, okay, swing, attack, Greymon, security attack +1. Okay, 2 checks, delete every time I attack, while promoting up another stack to deal with. Yeah, they just cannot get past this. And that's kind of the same premise for a lot of these other super fast decks, is this Omnimon X is super strong in those matchups. Now, while I would at least keep one of this, you could argue cutting it down to 1 and then running in another package here. So we got our Blitz Omnimon, great card here. With the X Antibody deck, we can get away with running this and then one of each of these other guys. The new Omnimon X is a great game finisher. When Digivolving, return all your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of the owner's deck. Cool, clear card. But when Digivolving and when attacking, but it's only once per turn, by placing X Antibody or level 6 card from this Digimon's Digivolution card at the bottom of the owner's deck, reveal all your opponent's security cards, trash one of them, place the rest of your opponent's security stack, then your opponent shuffles it. If your opponent only has 1 security left, and you go, you swing with your Gaiomons, BlackWarGreymons, whatever the case is, and you get them down to 1, and then you go, okay, now Blitz Omnimon, unsuspend, attack again, and then X Antibody option, Digivolve into Omnimon X, you just instantly clear that security, and you just win. So Blitz Omnimon for game, but like on crack. So that's what's really good about this combo. Really good stuff, as well as it's just good to see your opponent's entire security is so good. It's like I can instantly know everything that you have in there. Yeah, that's stupid strong. So moving on, we've got our tie, which we've already talked on quite a bit there. Really good stuff. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Greymon or Omnimon in its name, by suspending the tamer, gain 1. It is a gain 1, but again, memory blockers don't affect tamers, so you'll pretty much always get the value out of this tie, which I really like. So great addition to the deck. Basically, he's like a pseudo Cool Boy, but we don't run Cool Boy anymore because Cool Boy can miss too many targets. That on-play search, you can just whiff so many times on other things that aren't X Antibody, and then the tie here can be used for anything that evos, whereas the Cool Boy was only for if you evo an X Antibody. So I like the tie way better. Just gotta lose out on that search, but that's okay. I've got 3 different rookies. That's 12 searchers right here. I'm good on searchers. I feel pretty good about that, as well as the red memory boost if you want to run it. And then just being able to reduce anything I want, and get to play this guy for free. So there's a lot of good stuff going for Ty here. Of course, the X Antibody option, we talked about it a ton. Hades Force for our those tamer hates. If you watched the national finals, you saw how good Hades Force was. Just Hades Force cleared the entire opponent's tamer board. So if you're playing against Hunters or Cross, Hades Force is a must-have card. Super strong. As well as, it's a solid card and secure to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. In like the Beelzemon match, if they do hit a Hades Force and they don't trash it off of the Beelzemon X, just killing that stack is absolutely detrimental for them. Like, they had to build up a whole new stack. They kind of hate it. Now, again, they do have that Warp Impmon. They can kind of pseudo get around it, but still really strong card. Just that play. The playability there is mainly why we run it, just because to deal with those tamer-based decks. Because if you can clear those tamer-based decks, especially while like mid-game, while they have a lot of like sources underneath them, and they have to lose out on all those sources, so strong, super strong, big fan. And then the big flag spot here is just the red memory boost here, just to reveal 4, add any red type we want, which is the whole deck except for the Omnimon, and then that delay gain 2 memory. The delay gain 2 memory is actually pretty huge in this deck because we've got some expensive Evo costs. If we don't have like Ty to help get around it, like our Gaiomons and our BlackWarGreymon X's are 5 Evo cost, which sure Ty can reduce 1 or 2 there, but the chances of us having 3 Ties on field is pretty slim. So having a red memory boost also to help alleviate that strain of Evo cost is really good, as well as our old Metal Greymon here is expensive. So that's why we run the red memory boost. Now again, you could drop it very easily and then run something else. You could drop the Omnimon X down to 1 and then implement these other 2. So that's 3 level 7s, and then that will still give you 1 extra card to play around if you drop the red memory boost and then him by 1, so that you drop 3, implement 2. Yeah, so you could bump something else in the deck up by 1 if you wanted. Maybe a level 5 or a mega. That's probably where I would look at, is either a level 5 or a mega, whenever you prefer more. And yeah, it's just personal preference. But that's the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know it's kind of long and rambling. But yeah, I'm a big fan of BlackWarGreymon. I'm a huge fan of Gaiomon, so do enjoy running this deck a lot.